Hello everyone, welcome to Finding Ithaca. Finding Ithaca is a Starfinder Actual play that will tell the story of a group of people from all corners of the universe finding a long-lost treasure that has been nicknamed Ithaca. This episode is one of 5 prologue episodes, and this one centers on one of the characters, Astro MacCleod, and how they become involved in the search for Ithaca. Enjoy. Hello! Welcome to Finding Ithaca, a brand new Starfinder podcast and actual play live stream. With me I have today is the amazing, the wonderful Madeleine. Say hello, Madeleine.
Hello, Madeleine.
And what do you do? Give me your spiel.
I first off remove my cat from the recording premises because he jumped up as that happened and he needs to mind his own goddamn business. But I do a lot of stuff. I am a TTRPG producer, performer, game master, writer. I'm a playwright. I'm a dramaturg. I'm very good at a Jennifer Coolidge impression. Yeah, I do a lot of fun things. I'm everywhere under the handle The Goose Girl.
Amazing. And I'll be your GM today. My name is Depthe, like the ocean, and you can find me on all things via Chaotic Bunny. So, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
We start our story on a small vessel. It isn't very large, just enough to fit 2 or 3 people, but what it lacks in size makes it up in speed. The ship has varying colours, bits and pieces moulded together like one of those cheap puzzles where all the pieces fit despite the picture not quite matching up. But it is a good vessel, barely having any faults since it had been built. But enough of that. We focus in on 2 people driving this ship. So Maddie, describe your character, and describe Clarence as well if you would like.
Yeah. So I'll start with this little possum guy. His name is Astro, and he looks like your very standard North American possum. A fuzzy white face, gray fur, long tail, wearing a little baby spacesuit. I have programmed this character to be as cute as possible. He has a little kind of spacesuit on that was lovingly hand-sewn by the human man next to him, buckled in the same way that, like, a child is buckled in a car seat. There has to be, like, a little lift underneath him because he is, like, on the smaller side. He is roughly the size of a child. And just these kind of big, wondrous brown eyes just taking in everything with, like, a big smile, and kind of sewn in on the left-hand side of his spacesuit is a symbol of the baseball team, the Houston Astros. Next to him is a man by the name of Clarence. Clarence is a man in his mid to late 30s with salt and pepper hair. He's starting to go a little gray. He's very kind of handsome, a la young George Clooney, with a kind of like, I don't know how to describe it other than a J. Jonah Jameson mustache. Yeah, and they're essentially wearing matching spacesuits, but the only difference is Astro's has that embroidery on it, whereas Clarence doesn't.
What a cutie. So, as they're traveling together, Clarence is... Sorry, who did you say was driving, Clarence or Astro?
Clarence is driving.
Clarence is navigating. You've just passed into a new galaxy. You've crossed the border. You encountered some Eagle officers, the Intergalaxian law enforcement, and it was a very amicable interaction. They pulled him over. They asked him why he was coming into this galaxy. Clarence gave his very normal answer of just sightseeing with my child. And like always, the androids kind of lean over, give a strange look, but say nothing otherwise before letting you on your way. And Clarence is excited because you are getting close to the next checkpoint that is on Clarence's hand. Because, as you know, Clarence is a Lisi Guardian. Someone who was bestowed the gift of a little treasure map to finding Ithaca. Ithaca is this long talked about mass of treasure that Captain Penelope hid away and clued in that she hid it in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle before bestowing her crewmates with clues and checkpoints to find Ithaca as kind of a test. If they can't make it through all the checkpoints, then they didn't deserve Ithaca. And they do have a clause to escape this, in which if they ever give up on the search, or they come through a time where they are no longer willing or wanting to complete the search, they can bestow it to someone else through a sentimental act of affection. You've heard Clarence's story 1,000 times. He was talking to a gentleman in this dive bar, and they got to talking all night, bonding about the fated Captain Penelope and the myths and the wives' tales that are told time and time again. When the gentleman revealed that he himself was a Lisi Guardian and had been looking to pass it on to someone else, as he had long since given up hope that he could find Ithaca. Clarence excitedly accepted, and you know Clarence's act of affection to be a kiss on the forehead, which he often does to you. And there is a certain excitement that fills the air. You've been in this energy before, only once, because the time before is where you met Clarence. And he's driving along, and he just starts talking excitedly as the checkpoint kind of is very visible as he's expressing with his hands. Oh, I'm just so excited, kid. Are you excited?
No, Pa, I'm just excited to see you excited, and I don't know, I'm just happy that you're taking me with you.
Oh, Astro, it's just, this is so exciting. We're so close. I can feel it in my bones. We even got further than the Lisi Guardian that I met, and we're so close, Astro. I can feel it.
Yeah. What are we gonna do when we get to it, Pa?
Oh, well, we gotta write about it, of course, and get published. All these scholars would know what we found, and we'll buy a nice planet in a very nice solar system where it's always warm.
A whole planet?
A whole planet. With the riches that we'll find, Astro, we'll be able to afford a solar system.
Oh, dang. I can't wait to have my own part of the planet, and I don't know what I'll do. That's a lot to think about for a little possum.
Well, we'll have time to think about it. But, and you see as he kind of gets slightly startled, as you see these tiny little creatures start hovering around the edges of the window that you can see through. They are, in a lack of a better words, a mass of limbs and hair. It's a very strange sight. They're not exactly human hands or limbs, but they seem to have a gripping mechanism of some sort as they kind of grip onto the windshield with these makeshift suction cups. And there's very luminescent hair that's kind of waving in the anti-gravity. It's very bright colors. Some are pink, some are bright blue, some are neon green as they kind of flutter around the window.
Oh, jeez. Have you ever seen anything like this before, Astro?
No, Pa, do you know what it is?
I think so. Just give me one moment. Here, take the wheel.
And kind of leans back to give you the wheel. He does let you do this on occasion for very short moments of time. So it's always very exciting when things like this happen for you.
Alright, Pa, I'll take the wheel. And I grip it with my little tiny possum hands.
There's a little bit of an awkward shuffle as he lets you into the driver's seat to go into the back. You hear him rustling around, kind of muttering to himself.
Oh, I know I had it.
Ah! And you hear kind of a jingling, and you kind of glance back. And he's holding a bag that you've seen a couple of times. Like, you never really paid attention to it, but you've seen him have it.
Ah, yes. So, if these are what I think they are, they're pixies. They're little creatures that really can just take apart your ship. But if you distract them and kind of opens the side door, keeping the shield on so that there's a little bit of oxygen outside and you're not just sucking all the, oxygen out. And you see those same fairies kind of move from the shield into the edges of the door that's opening as Clarence grabs a handful of these just spare nuts and bolts. He just throws them out the door, getting caught by the anti-gravity. And now that the door's open, you can actually hear what they sound like. They're just it's a very harmonious, high-pitched singing. Just a... And it's quite enjoyable to listen to, actually.
I turn to Clarence and I go, Pa, how'd you know to do that?
Oh, I read about it in one of the journals that I found. It's a very old wives' tale myth that really only pirates used to really respect. Apparently pixies, they're very similar to this very old earthen myth about, fairy creatures, so that's how they gained the pixie name.
Oh. Pa, what's a fairy?
Oh, that's a good question. Those I haven't read too much about. They're like humans, but not.
Like me?
Yeah, like you.
Oh. So I'm like the hands and the hair out there. I'm a pixie, Pa.
A little bit, but you are your own very special creature.
Kind of boops you on the nose a little bit as he closes up the door and takes over the driving seat again. And things settle down as you continue driving when you come across the next checkpoint. The first thing you notice about this planet is the vibrant purple you see covering nearly every inch of this small planet. As you get closer, you begin to see more details. The just as vibrant purple flora scattering the edges of these deep canyons that you can see very clearly from up above. Takes a moment as the ship drifts closer and closer. You see more details. It's not just all purple, you see streaks of red blending in with the purple across these deep winding trenches that span across the surface of this nearly monochromatic planet. And Clarence kind of taps the wheel excitedly.
Oh boy! Look at that! Our next checkpoint. Porphyris.
Porphyris. And I'm kind of racking my brain, my little possum brain. I'm like, Pa, what's on Porphyris again?
Porphyris is a planet that everyone theorized was on the list. And it is. It was chosen by Captain Penelope because very long ago there was a very successful heist nearby.
Oh.
Yes. She managed to get through a high security, technologically advanced cargo ship that was created to stop Penelope. But she took that as a challenge. She stole every penny from that ship, and it wasn't too far from here.
Wow. And that's why this planet's on the list, cause she stole from a big fancy ship.
Well, yes. Everyone has different theories, but I know this list that she makes you go through, they're all planets that she's either been to, or she's stolen from, or stolen nearby. It's all connected.
Oh. Wow. I never really thought of that. That's real interesting, Pa.
Isn't it? Oh. Now, let's see if we can find this next checkpoint.
And kind of start staring into the planet. Population-wise, this planet doesn't look very populated. You don't see any pockets of civilization on the surface as you kind of drift down and start to park your spaceship. And you manage to find a small piece of land that isn't deep down in the canyon, because some of these canyons are quite slim, even for the small spaceship that you two have. But he lands the spaceship, and the door opens as you step out. The purple that you saw from up above is so much more vibrant now that you're seeing it. It was pretty vibrant when you were seeing it from space, but like seeing it up close, there is a certain aspect to it. It's not as if it's brighter, it's just more intense. And you see scattering bushes and trees with the same purple coloring. You both walk to the edge of one of these canyons. As you look down into these trenches, it takes a moment to focus as it's so far down below to even see the bottom. There's a moment where you just can't think you see the bottom, when you realize that not too far from the ground of the canyon there are fabrics hanging, kind of offering shelter. And it's between these pieces of fabric that you see movement, people kind of walking underneath. You realize that the civilization is down below, on the bottom of these canyons.
Huh.
Oh boy, that's... How do we get down?
Pa, why are they at the bottom of the canyons?
Well...
Kind of looks around and up at the very distant sun in this planet system. Porphyris is quite a ways, and it's already quite dim. And you watch as very slowly, but you start to notice that there's a big planet that's closer to the sun that's covering it. You see in the distance the night that it's bringing.
Well, I think because the planet doesn't get enough sun that there's not a lot of nutrients on the surface anyway. That's why everything's purple. Sometimes plants go purple when there's not enough sunlight.
Oh. I didn't know that.
It's very cool. And sometimes when plants don't get enough sunlight, they don't have as much nutrients. So I assume that people just go down below because there's nothing for them up here anyway.
I see. So because there ain't no sun up here, they're gonna go down there? But Pa, there is no sun down there. If there's no sun up here, ain't gonna be no sun down there.
Yes, well, gotta pick the most advantageous thing sometimes, and sometimes that's hiding. 'Cause we didn't even see anybody up from up above.
No, we did not.
So, probably a good strategy for people that don't like to be bothered so much, so be careful, these people might not be used to newcomers.
And kind of gives you,
Oh.
like, a pat on the shoulder and a rub.
But just stick close, alright?
Alright, Pa, I'll stick close.
Alright.
And you kind of walk along as Clarence tries to search for a way down. It takes a little bit of walking, but as you kind of follow Clarence as he's kind of searching along the sides and down below, you finally come across carved out stairs that go down the side of the canyon. You start to make your way down. It's a very narrow staircase. These are stairs that have been carved out from the side of the canyon. And they seem very old. Some of them seem to be disintegrated, so some of the stairs are quite steep, but Clarence helps you in any parts that you find tricky.
It's okay, I just use all 4 of my legs.
Very good. It takes a solid 20 to 30 minutes to walk down these stairs. But when you do reach the bottom, you're very, not incredibly shocked, but it's still a little kind of, you do a double take at how much more bustling it is down here. There are people kind of walking through. You find yourself in the middle of a bazaar. You've been to a couple of them, and Clarence has explained them to you. They are markets more often than not, but you've only ever seen them on spaceships or really, really populated planets. So this is the first one you've seen that's not as crowded, but it is still bustling and rambunctious, and there are voices shouting out, screaming out deals and sales that they have, and fabrics on display, and fruit on display, and food and produce, and all of these things that you have no idea how they managed to get on a planet that is barren, save for the very few trees and shrubs that have evolved to survive on the surface. It's a very huge mix of different aliens and races. And despite what Clarence may have warned, you don't get many double takes at your presence. People just think that you're a passerby. They're shouting things at you. Hey, come over here. We got some fresh fabrics, freshly dyed, vibrant, more purple than the surface of the planet.
Sure, okay.
And Clarence has to be like, no.
Thank you. These are...
But Pa, they're selling freshly dyed fabrics.
It's very nice, but we don't need any fabrics.
But Pa, they're freshly dyed. That's like important, right? Isn't it?
It's just a selling point that people make to get people to come over and buy their things.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and they get your attention so that they can get you to buy things.
Okay. That's very interesting. I'll remember that for later.
He gets a little bit of a concerned look. He's taught you everything he knows, so he always knows when something like that is said, but he lets it go. He just kind of gives you a little like a little head rub, scruff on the head as they continue walking. It is quite a large bazaar as you're kind of walking through. You see everything. You're seeing fruit that you saw on other planets that you've traveled to. technology from various ships and parts that you're familiar with. And Clarence does stop for some food. He buys some fruit for the two of you just as a snack as you're walking. It's like this apple that is like a banana, that tastes like a banana. Just for Madeleine's reference.
Perfect, thank you.
As you continue, Clarence is kind of searching around. You know what he's looking for. There's a very specific symbol that is at the entrance of each of these checkpoints.
Mm-hmm.
It was Captain Penelope's old flag. It's a traditional wooden steering wheel on a pirate ship with a compass in the middle. And sometimes they're quite obvious, but other times it can take a while before Clarence can find one. But he's very vigilant, on the lookout. He seems to have spotted as he kind of squeezes your shoulder excitedly.
Oh, there it is. Look over there.
And kind of, as he points it out, you turn your gaze, and right between these two certain stalls, there seems to be a very narrow entryway. And above it, carved very, very small, you absolutely would never have seen it had Clarence not pointed out to you. On the top, on the corner, is Penelope's symbol.
Oh.
Alright. Now, wait here and lay low. I'll be back.
Okay.
I'll be back soon. If I can't figure it out, I'll come back.
You know that these entry points aren't accessible to you. It seems to be a type of magic or technology in which only those who have the Lisi can enter.
Alright. Pa, for go. I love you.
I love you too.
And kind of gives you a kiss on the forehead and goes in.
And nuzzle him on the cheek.
He enters. You are in the middle of a very big bazaar. Is there anything you would like to do?
Well, I've been told to sit and wait. So I'm gonna do that for a good 10 minutes. And then, what's like the most distracting thing here?
Ooh, there's a lot. There's a lot of loud voices. But I will say you do see a stall that seems to be selling children's toys.
I'm gonna go over to it.
Alright, you go over and you see this creature that is bird-like in features. Has quite a long neck before ending in what is similar to a secretary bird's head. Very long lashes. She's dressed in these very deep purples, and the fabric flows in a way that moves like air whenever she makes a movement. It's a little mesmerizing. She has these gorgeous arms that have wing feathers down the bottom. Her legs and in talons, which the nails are painted this bright purple to go with her dress. As you approach, you see this stall has a variety of toys. Something as simple as a fidget spinner. And others as complex as this little toy pirate ship coasting by in the air as it kind of blows bubbles out of what would be the side cannons. And you see tiny little androids on the deck of the ship running around and pretending to man the ship. As this Espraka looks down on you.
Oh, hello, little one. What can I help you with today?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just waiting for my pa, so I'm just looking around.
Oh, what a sweet little thing. Oh, here, why don't you play with this?
And she brings out this board with kind of there's some parts that start to light up, but others seem to have a different contraption to it. As she hands it to you, you have no idea what this does. She's just handing it to you.
But yeah, I take this wonderful little light up toy that I've been given, and I'm just kind of staring at it, watching the lights go, and I don't know how it works, but these lights are sure pretty. It reminds me of like a switchboard in Pa's rocket.
Oh, what a cute little thing. It's a little puzzle board. And as she kind of demonstrates on some of them, you realize that these are different mini, like, children's puzzles. So one's like, it has little shapes on a string, but you realize that there are holes that you can put the shapes in. And there's the buttons that are lighting up. They're kind of lighting up in a pattern, and there are corresponding buttons that you can kind of follow the pattern. And as well as a mixed up puzzle where you have to put the puzzle pieces back together. And in the last slot is a little, I don't know what it's called, and I don't know if you ever had this, but it was this little kind of maze in which you had a ball on a string and you had to lead the ball through the maze to the other side.
I didn't have one, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so one of those in the last corner.
But yeah, I sit and I'm just kind of holding it in front of me with the lights. And then I think when Astro kind of has this like realization, he starts to try to kind of like put this puzzle together. He's not very good at it, but it's in the same way that like a baby is learning how to do a puzzle not like he's not a baby and this is not his first time with the puzzle. He's just horrible at them, so he's taking his sweet time.
Absolutely, yeah. Make me a perception check.
Yeehaw, I will. That's a natural 1 + 1 is a 2.
Oh boy. Alright. You're so into this puzzle. You are loving this puzzle. You are so intrigued. You finish the first puzzle, you get this rush of exhilaration. You immediately move on to the second one, completely entranced. It isn't until they're walking past the stall next to you that you notice these people that are very out of place. And you also now notice that the bazaar has gotten not silent, but it's a lot quieter than it was before. No one's shouting out deals. No one's talking to each other excitedly. You finally look up and you see the shopkeep kind of... And she greeted you with such extroverted warmth, inviting you to a stall, giving you a toy, but she's now acting like she's in the middle of doing something. Okay. When she's just fiddling with something. You look over and you see these group of... It's a variety of group, but you see that from what you can discern, the one walking in front, you see this insect-looking species with these mandibles on the side of the mouth and a bug-like exoskeleton that is formed in a plating formation along down the back. Very tall torso and very similar to kind of like a millipede body, but there's only about 6 legs supporting his body, and he has 2 arms available to him.
I'm gonna go to the lady. I'm gonna go to the nice lady that helps me, and I'm gonna pull, I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna pull out like the hem of her skirt and be like, in a hushed voice, excuse me, ma'am, but who are those people?
Oh, nothing you need to worry about, sweetie. They're just here for some taxes. And there's like a very like tight-lipped smile that you can kind of see through. But they approach her stall. I'm like, hey, you seen this guy around? And he pulls up a little device and clicks it, and down below you see Clarence.
I kind of like narrow my eyes. I'm like, why are people looking for Pa? But I don't like respond at all. I'm just like hearing, like looking. There's like confusion and also like that can't be Pa.
The Spraka that's been at the shop goes, no, I haven't seen him. And kind of tries to like offer a polite smile. And he goes, alright. And kind of motions to another person in his group. Another human. And kind of walks forward. He's wearing long leather jacket and very dirty, mismatched clothing, but he flips his jacket back, revealing a gun on his hip, a laser gun. And the Spraka kind of shuffles forward to this small registry that she has and takes out some money and gives it to him. Counts it. Looks between the Spraka and the money once or twice before pocketing it and moving on. Asking other people in the stalls.
I look up at the lady and I go, oh, that's an asshole right there. Pa told me about those.
She does let out an unexpected giggle at that. Well, yes. Sometimes there are assholes in the world. But sometimes you just have to try and treat them with kindness.
I kind of like think I'm gonna do a personal roll for me to see if he's gonna do this. If he's gonna take this on himself or ask a grown-up for help. So, with the roll I made, Astro kind of like sits down and sees these like just a bunch of dudes walking by, and he just kind of gets this like, the only way I can describe is like almost like a feral pack feeling of like this like anger that can only be described as animalistic, and he knows that they're after Pa, and no one's gonna get between him and his Pa, and these people had a gun and they ain't gonna rob Pa or do anything worse to him. So I tell the nice lady goodbye. I give her a little wave and I'm go, I might be right back. That puzzle was really nice. And then I get on all fours, and knowing with kind of how low I am to the earth, I'm gonna kind of scurry and make my way to a place where I can, that's near that entrance, so I can spy and be near the entrance.
Alright. It's, by the time that this all happens, it's been about nearly an hour since Clarence has gone into the checkpoint. And it's about another half an hour before he exits. Kind of looks around a little bit, isn't seeing you where he left you sitting. How much are you hiding? Are you hiding really well, or just will he be able to see you easily once he exits?
I hide. I guess I'm thinking about vantage point. You know how like there's a blind spot? I'm trying to get in their blind spot, but in a way where it's like at the exit, Pa would see me.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. I'm trying to master that duality of finding whatever their blind spot is, matching up with Pa's line of vision.
All right. Absolutely, yeah. So he sees you pretty quickly and walks over.
Oh, I couldn't quite figure it out. This might...
Pa, we gotta go. We gotta go back to the ship.
What's wrong?
There was a and they had a gun, and they took the nice lady's money, and they had a picture of you. Pa, we gotta go back to the ship.
Okay. So slow down there. You said they had a photo of me?
Uh-huh.
Oh. I don't think this is good.
Pa, what's going on?
Which way did they go?
This is also me, the player, racking my brain. They went towards the entrance of the challenge thing, right?
They were walking towards where, like, you first came in.
Okay. Then I point in that direction. I'm like, they went that way, Pa.
Did they recognize you? Did they ask you anything? Did they say anything to you?
They just asked me if I knew who you were, but I don't know. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything, Pa.
That's good. All right. Well, let's get back to the ship. Everything will be all right.
And kind of,
okay.
He picks you up. It's not often that he kind of picks you up to carry you, but he does so and is a little bit brisk. He spots the people that you were talking about. You see them up ahead, holding up the hologram of Clarence. And he kind of stutters a bit, glancing around, and begins to walk sideways so that he can walk behind the stalls and get by unnoticed. With how quiet and downward everyone is, kind of keeping their eyes to the ground, not a lot of people fight him on it. They just let him pass. They're not worried about him right now. They're worried about the people claiming that they're worried about the people taking the taxes. He seems to make it by. There is a moment when your heart rate picks up because you're getting closer and closer and closer. You have to pass these men to get back to your ship. And you feel your heart racing as you are right in front of these men now, but a shopkeep notices Clarence holding you and shuffling past, and the next stall over, who has kind of some small animals. They seem to be selling produce like eggs and milk. You see them spot Clarence trying to hide, holding you, and unlocks one of the cages that hold these, what you know to be chickens. He pretends to trip and throw the cage up, and chickens go everywhere, and there's a huge ruckus, and you hear the men screaming, "What's going on? What is all this?" And that provides the distraction needed because they're so focused on this that Clarence is able to bolt past them without any risk of being seen. And you make it to the stairs. And he makes it to the stairs and he just starts climbing them in a rush. You're not taking your time anymore. There is an urgency that is happening.
Yeah. With 4 legs, I can climb decently fast, so if he needs to use his extremities, he can feel more than comfortable setting me down, knowing I'll be able to keep pace with him.
Yeah, so yeah, there is a point where just about halfway through he's starting to get a little winded, and he kind of sets you down just so you can make your way and he can just try and get up the stairs quickly. But you hear shouting. And you turn behind and the men have seen you both climbing up these stairs. And you hear from a distance, "There he is! Get that leasy holder!" And
Pa, we gotta go faster! Pa, we gotta go!
I know.
And he's trying, but he's starting to get a little old, and this is probably the most exertion that he's had to go through. And you're running, but there's a point where you hear some shuffling and you see that Clarence has tripped and is just trying to get back up to run.
I run back to him, and I, with my little possum head, I'm like, "Come on, Pa, you gotta get up, Pa."
Listen, I love you very much. You know that, right?
Yeah, of course I do, Pa. Now come on, they're gonna get you.
I don't. I think you gotta do this.
Pa, what? Pa, I know you shouldn't use this word. You're talking horseshit, Pa. What are you talking about?
I love you very much. Now get back to the ship and make it to the first checkpoint. I believe in you. You can do this. We made it this far together, and you can get so much further without me.
And
Pa, no!
he leans forward and gives you a kiss on the forehead. And this feels so very different from any other time that he's initiated that action with you. It's rushed, it's frantic, it's full of so many unsaid things as he leans forward and gives you that one final kiss on the forehead, and you feel your vision go white. You're stunned for a moment as you just are overwhelmed by this white light that's behind your eyes. There's a ringing in your ear as it slowly enters your brain and forms a harmony of sorts. And you open your eyes and you see Clarence kind of looking at you with the proudest smile that he's ever given you.
I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. Now go.
And kind of will give you a push.
You run and you don't look back, you hear?
I nod and I go, we're gonna see each other later again, Pa. And we're gonna get that treasure together. Just not now, it's gonna be later. And then I turn around and I start booking it to the ship.
You run, and that is all you're thinking about. You're still slightly overwhelmed from what just happened. It was just this intense of emotions happening, the overwhelming bright light, and you hear him start to fight with these pirates that were here for him and his Lacey. And you don't see what happens next, but you do see, as you're running and you arrive in the ship, glowing very faintly on the back of your hand, a set of coordinates. You board the ship, you close it up. You're sitting in the driver's seat, alone.
I put my booster under me. Tearfully, I put my booster seat under me. And I kind of like wipe my eyes a little bit. And I shake my paws. And I think back to everything Clarence has taught me, and I grab the wheel.
And you take off. And there's a moment where you want to look back. You want to look for him. You want to make sure he's okay, but he told you to run. So you do. And you fly. You think about every moment you've had with this man who found you on Catesis, taught you everything he knew about everything. He was the smartest man that you knew. It's a while. You made it a really long way. And you went with Clarence in the beginning, so this is new to you as you make it to the first planet of the journey to finding Ithaca.
I close my eyes and I envision every single face that I saw that day of the pirates to the best of my ability, specifically gun human and bug person. Those are the ones I'm going to focus in on. Because I know that later, if not now then later, I'm going to find them. And they're going to be sorry that they ever ran into my paw.
And they will be. that's where we're going to end the session. Oh my god, thank you so much, Maddie, for doing this session 0 with me.
Of course.
Yeah, so thank you so much for listening to those that are listening right now. And if you want to find us, you can find me at Chaotic Bunny, and you can find Madeleine at The Goose Girl.
Like Megan the Stallion. THE.
Like Megan the Stallion. All right. Thank you so much.